finger ready.
All right. The first award is second place apprentice close-up, and it goes to Kathleen Jackson.
All right.
Thank you.
The second award goes to apprentice close-up, it's first place, and it goes to Russ.
All right.
It's supposed to be in advance.
That's okay, I'll take it, all right. Russ, you're cheating.
No, put it in advance.
Yeah.
Got thumbed up.
Do I smell something?
Next is second place apprentice places goes to, actually, we have a tie.
Oh.
And they both go to Ashley Jones.
Thank you.
Next is apprentice places first place, Kathleen Jackson.
All right.
That's pretty. Thank you. Like that. Coming to the center there.
Apprentice category X, third place, Maggie Finneran. Apprentice category X, second place, again, Maggie Finneran.
I recognize that.
Apprentice category X, first place, Carol Farrar.
All right.
Intermediate animal, second place, Nick Collar. Intermediate animal, first place, Tracy Reyes.
Is the bird moving down?
Intermediate open miscellaneous, we have a tie.
Just do one at a time, please.
Okay. The first one is Michelle
Geisler?
Geisler.
All right.
Second, tied third place is Stephanie.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Intermediate open miscellaneous, second place, Daniel Otter. Intermediate open miscellaneous, first place, Michelle.
Thank you, Julie.
So,
Intermediate people, second place. Intermediate people, first place, Kelly Tilson. Intermediate photojournalism, first place, Heidi Wilson.
all right.
Intermediate category X, third place, Stephanie.
All right.
Next is intermediate category X, second place, Heidi Wilson.
All right.
Architecture.
Oh, okay.
Intermediate category X, first place, Gary Fitch.
Last contest was fouls.
Next is advanced animal, third place, and Kramer. Advanced animal, second place, Cheryl Callaghan.
Very nice.
Advanced animal, first place, Deborah Sibley.
Ooh.
Advanced close-up, second place,
Wow.
Philip Tenpenny.
Oh, love that.
Advanced close-up, first place, Philip Tenpenny is. Advanced open miscellaneous, first place, Cheryl Callahan.
That's really nice.
Hmm.
Advanced people, second place, Bruce Herwig. Advanced people, first place, Rick Strobel.
All right.
Advanced photojournalism, second place, is Brian Spears. Advanced photojournalism, first place, David Garner. Advanced places, third place, Donald Purdy. Advanced places, second place is.
Oh.
Purdy.
Hey.
Advanced places, first place, Rick Strobel.
All right.
The kiss, the kiss is fun.
Yeah.
So, that is the picture.
Yeah.
Advanced category X, second place, Brian Spears. Advanced category X, second place, Judith Sparhawk. Advanced category X, first place is Dorothy Cunningham.
Now, are we at our best of show?
Yes.
And guess what we found?
Ah.
So, best of show from last time, we've got a ribbon for you. Best of show for this time, we just found them. They were in. We were looking in Russ's garage, we were looking in Carl's garage, we were looking everywhere except in our own cabinet. And found them. We don't have a sticker for you, but we can make that up. So, drum roll, please.
Best of show, David Garner.
Congratulations, Dave. Merchandise. Best of show. This is your second time this year. You continue to win first places. You continue to win best of shows. What's your secret?
Good photos.
It shoots a lot of pictures, and that is, I'm not gonna say no, but that is a great way to get started. Fantastic, congratulations there on that. And Julie, thank you for heading up our competition. It's a great way to up your game. Actually, you were a first-time contestant this time, and you're still standing. And so congratulations there. So
Thank you.
we are good for that time. Fantastic. And Dave, this was you took this where? Dave, you took this photo where?
That was at the Apple Valley Air Show with Russ and I were shooting up there.
Okay.
And I think some other club members were there too.
Yeah, so this was early or late last year.
October.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
October on that. So fantastic. So your competition photos don't have to be the ones you took yesterday. You're allowed to go back in your archives if that's what you feel most comfortable with. So keep that in mind. Congratulations. The judges really had a lot to say on this. This is one of the contested photos that got an increased score, and congratulations. Well, photographing the moon. We're going to be moving on to the next part of our programming, and that is photographing the moon. Actually, Heidi, where'd you go?
Back here,
You had asked me to give a talk on this. Tell me why.
because you are the moon photographer, you're the nighttime photographer, you're always taking pictures of the Milky Way. And you told me how to take pictures of the Milky Way, and I have a blurry one, but I thought the moon might be a little easier to start with. So.
The moon is a little bit, it's that big thing in the sky. And I say big thing. The moon is actually very tiny. If you took a nickel and held it out, that's about how big the moon is. And it is a challenge. And well, it's not moving fast at all. Oh yeah, except when you're trying to shoot it. It's,
The bigger you make it, the faster it goes.
that
Yes.
is true. Okay, this is where, this is my cue to move to the other slides. Over here. And then here. All right, Zoomers, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Your moon's out of focus.
Yes, to make sure you're watching.
How to fix that. So I was looking in my archives, and I have 45 distinct times over the last decade that I've shot the moon. Specifically, a moon shoot, going out to shoot the moon. And I find it to be just a fascinating subject, whether it's just a thin crescent, whether it's the full moon, and all of the craters that you can see. I started, and this is kind of what my moon photos look like. No detail in the moon. But this kind of photo includes the moon, but it was a Halloween, actually. This was a Halloween night, and I was looking for spooky, and this was the best I could do at the time. But it included the moon. So even if you can't get it right, you can still shoot it fun. And one of my favorite subjects is of Redlands is the Estancia. I shoot that a lot. This was one of the, I think this was Venus and the moon were having some sort of conjunction, and so I ran over to there and shot that. I had this great idea. You know how your ideas are better in your head than they are in reality? Was to get one of those windmills with a giant moon behind it. And this was my first attempt. It was a giant windmill with a tiny moon behind it. And so I knew that that was something that I was going to have to learn about. The moon moves, and it moves fast. They say that it's about one moon worth, about 160 seconds. So a little over 2 minutes, it moves an entire moon's worth. So if you're catching this thing setting or rising, I mean, it's just, it's like, stop. You really have about, then you put on your delays and your, it's moving fast. And that's one of the things that is why it's so hard to get. This was one of my first moon composites that I tried. I really didn't know how the moon worked. I figured that it went in a straight line. Boy, was I wrong. No. But I liked that end where it had the little moon burst, the same way that you use F16 to get a starburst. You blow out your moon and you use F16 and you get a moon burst, which is kind of fun. This was actually my first serious attempt of learning about the moon's movement. I call this one string of pearls. I sat all night at the at the San Bernardino Mountains overlooking the San Bernardino Valley. One of the nice things about shooting, something new is it forces you to buy new equipment. So I had my battery, I had my dummy battery, I had stuck it in there, and because I was not sure how, because when you look up and you see the moon, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's there. It's like, where is it going to go? How tall is it? And what I found out was it depends. It's one of the things. But in this case here, I mean, I shot, panorama as it moved. I ended up moving, so I'd go an hour or two and then move it around, and stitched that all together. And again, my moon burst over here, blown out moon on purpose. Thought that was a fun little thing. And then I started getting my longer lenses. So now again, nice thing about shooting, it forces you to buy new equipment. So I bought, I was borrowing equipment over here. So going back out, okay, can I get my big moon with the windmill behind it? No, not yet. But I love the attempt. I love the colors. This was just rising over the top of the mountains, and was just loving what I was getting. Did some more research, watched some more YouTube videos, I found out, okay, yes, Russ.
Just real quick, how far away from the windmill were you and what lens were you using?
I don't remember and I don't recall. This was actually a Nikon Coolpix P1000 with a 24 to 3000 millimeter lens. And I'm not sure where in between I was at. I was pretty far, you have to be pretty far away to get the moon.
Big as what it is, yeah,
over there. Using that same line. Okay. Getting closer. So I finally get everything dialed in. I know where to sit. I know where to stand. And then the next month, the construction team took all of this down. And so they replaced it in the meantime with one that's twice as big. A windmill that's twice as big, which means I would have to move twice as far back. So I was at least 3/4 of a mile away on this shot. We'll get into some of the details. I was recently in the Valley of Fire. This was a moon shot over there. And this is a composite. The moon was there. The moon was there in that valley. This moon was that height. It's just a little bit larger, right? This is how the moon felt to me. It wasn't the size, because if it was a size, it would be about the size of a nickel, right? In over there. Now I'm getting a little bit better at my planning. So I'm planning with specifically with the objects in front of the moon, and I'm liking that over there, over at Riverside. We've been over to Mount Rubidoux, getting things dialed in. I've got my friend Sully, we're running out.
That's all.
It's nice of him to move the moon
Holding
for
the
you.
moon.
Yeah, so.
Forget Atlas. This is just over in Highland over here. I mean, so you don't have to go to Great Lakes to, Riverside, Highland, to get these things. Cabazon. And this is one of my favorites. This is my son. This was one of his senior pictures, and specifically planned this shot with the moon behind him. And I was grateful that he was game to do it. He had his earbuds in, you can see over here, and that's so I could tell him, move a little back, a little forward. And we were able to get some fun, memorable shots that we'll have for a lifetime. So, have you ever felt like this? And let's see if like this works. Yep. Click. 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 Oh, it was working earlier. Click. Click. No click.
Is it a movie?
It is a movie, again, this may be a. Let's see if I get this to go.
There it is.
This is probably internet related, not this related, it's,
Oh, okay, so this is the movie here?
yeah,
You click on it, listen.
yeah, and I think it's internet related.
Yeah, you may be right.
All right. A for effort.
There you go, there you go.
Okay, so there's this guy, and he's walking along in the forest, and he sees the moon, and it's a big full moon, and it's a beautiful moon. And he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna take the best moon shot ever," and he clicks it. Then he looks on the back of his camera, and it's crap. Anybody who can relate? I mean, the moon is a tough subject. In fact, it's going to be the easiest because it's the easiest to find, but it's one of the toughest of the night sky objects that you'll try to shoot. And part of it is because it's so small. Part of it's because it's moving so fast. The rest of the video continues, and the guy goes, "It's not an interesting subject by itself. I would like to take. I object. I love the moon all by itself, but it's really bright. It's really, really bright. In fact, the moon is about half the brightness of the sun. The full moon is. So you wouldn't just aim your camera at the sun, put it on auto, and hope to get anything and land anything good. That's and it's tiny. It is so tiny, and it's really tiny. Did I mention that it's small? It's so hard, and it moves a lot. It's not like the sun. The sun kind of is, over here. With the moon, it starts over here, and if you like the shot, you decide to come back the next day. It's going to be over there. It's not going to be in the same spot. It's not going to be there at the same time. In fact, if you miss that shot, you may not get another opportunity for another 6 to 9 to 12 months, depending on the cycle. So it's important for planning. And you can say it's just a phase, right? We've got those thin crescents to those good round full moons. A lot of people like to shoot the full moon, but the craters show up best actually around around this area over here, because the sun is more to the side, and as the sun's more to the side, it pushes those the shadows on those craters. And so we see the difference of it. This is not the Earth getting in the way of that's not what's causing it. It's just the sun's in a different spot. The moon's in a different spot. As it rotates, it's going around there. So new moon equals no moon. And so starting over here, we've got the moon. This is what it looks like, blank. That's because the sun, this is the sun is behind it. And so what we see is nothing. And as the moon circles around the Earth, as it has a tendency to do, because the Earth is round, not flat,
Okay.
just checking, we start to see the crescent moon over here, and then the halfway through. See, when I see it, it looks like a half moon, right? I mean, it's half the moon. Nope, it's the first quarter moon. And that's because it's a first quarter of the way around the sun. So you see half of it, but it's a quarter of the way around the rounded cycle. And it takes about 27.3, about call it 28 days before it makes its full cycle over here. Over here, you've got the full moon, and then it just keeps going around. You get that. So you would think you have 1 first quarter moon, 2 second quarter moon. Nope, it's the third quarter moon because it's third of the way around. And it's not even 3/4 of a moon, it's a half a moon, but it's
So a full moon is a half.
so a 3/4 moon shows as half a moon.
Right, but a full moon is a half moon.
A full, yeah, full moon. Yeah, exactly. This is, kind of think f-stops, but for moons. None of it makes sense.
It's fuzzy math.
It is. No, especially if my photos are in focus, you get that really fuzzy math. But, so when I'm shooting the Milky Way, I really started to become moon aware. In fact, I have moon apps on my desktop, I have moon apps on my phone, I have moon apps, I'm always knowing when sun up, sundown, when moon, don't ask me, but I can look at it really, really fast. So you've got full, crescent, quarter, gibbous, all of these are different terms. So again, if you're shooting airplanes, or you're shooting boats. I was on the Queen Mary the other day. Oh, they're going to go to the port. Is that the left? It's like there's a whole set of terminology. If you're shooting, if you're photographing airplanes, there's a whole different terminology. If you're shooting the moon, there's a whole different terminology. Now, I don't know all of it, but I do know that it's beautiful. And if you can capture that, you're doing good. So the movement of the moon is not in a circle. Okay, it's actually in an ellipse, which means it's more egg-shaped that way. And apogee, perigee, again, more moon terms. Again, it goes around every 28 days. Like the sun, it rises in the east and sets in the west. So that's handy over there, so you can know where it's going to start. But it's not in the east, it's kind of in the southeast, and then it kind of moves over time. And the same side of the moon always faces us. So it's turning, so it always has its face towards us. So because of this phenomenon where it's closer or farther away, we get what's called a supermoon. And how many of you have read the headlines? Supermoon, rare supermoon coming down. So, how big is a supermoon? Well, okay, hold your nickel up. Your nickel is about that much bigger, about 7% larger. Now, I don't know if my eyes going the way that they are, I can't tell 7% on my nickel holding it straight up, and neither can anybody else. So if you think you're going to get this ginormous moon, it's not. All right, question. What do you call the part of the moon we can't see?
Dark side of the
Dark side of the moon.
Dark side of the moon, you know it. You know it, dark side of the moon. Great album. Okay, what does the moon look like from Australia? We got New Zealand, Australia.
Same as it does here.
Pretty much the same. I didn't notice.
Yeah. Come again?
I said.
It's the same as
You should know that. So what is the answer?
Same.
What's the same?
same.
It's the
always
same,
facing
but
the same
upside
side.
down.
Yep.
It's actually, you don't see the back side. That would be different, right? No, you see it, but upside up. Same way that you see the Milky Way, upside down, you see the moon, upside down. Which is curious. Okay, what color is a blue moon?
White.
Same color.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's white, just like every other moon. Right? Okay, strawberry moon. Okay, you're gonna see this on the internet. Somebody paints it blue, or they paint it pink, or no, it's the same white that it always was. It doesn't change color. But what does once in a blue moon mean?
Means you get 2 full moons.
Yeah, it's a rare event, right? And then because that's 28 days is for its cycle, every once in a while, the calendars line up, you're gonna get 2 full moons in a month. That's what a blue moon is. It's when you get 2 full moons in a month. It is rare, but not as rare as the headlines would tell you. And what does it look like? Just looks like a normal full moon, which is not bad. I love a full moon. Okay, what is a blood moon? An eclipse. And why do they call it a blood moon?
The blue light gets filtered out.
Right? Okay, if you think of a prism and how a prism scatters the light, Okay, the Earth in the atmosphere is a giant prism. And as the sun comes through the atmosphere, it spreads out only the red. And that's why it shows red on the moon over there. So you get all these names, and they're cool names.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of these are from our indigenous cultures. Some of them are from our colonial times. And you know, so you get the wolf moon or the worm moon or the flower moon. The flower moon is also known as the corn moon, for those Pocahontas aficionados. The hunter's moon, the cold moon. And so this is where you're going to see they just start adding all these things. You got the full super blue wolf moon, and then you got the, you know, the blood full super, you know, they just keep adding. And the longer the name, the more actually the more exciting it is. So, lunar eclipse. Earth is between the moon and the sun. And it could look like this as it's starting to transition. Solar eclipse. The moon, which is almost the exact same, it's the exact same distance. Well, it's a lot smaller. But the moon, the sun is so much farther away. When you put them on top of each other, you're almost exactly the same. Almost, but not quite, which allows some spectacular photos that I wasn't able to capture. So I got partial, a partial eclipse over here. All right, and so you got the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse, and if you get this, you get the apocalypse, which looks more like that. So if you ever, so what cameras can you use? All right, cameras. You can use pretty much anything. Full frame, crop sensor, DSLR, mirrorless. People have been shooting with film for forever, photographing the moon. And the first pictures of the moon were on film, actually on glass plates. Very tricky to do. If you've got a crop sensor, you actually have an advantage. Most of us use full frames here. If you have a crop sensor, if you've got an extra one, that allows you to get a little bit extra reach because your sensor is smaller. It appears to be coming closer. And so you can do that. Can I capture the moon with my smartphone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yes. Then can you do it well? Is the question. You can get it. First time I was with the astronomy club, we had a raffle and they said, "You want a telescope?" I was like, "Yes, I want a telescope."
That's great.
And then, it will get you a little bit closer. But you try to hold that thing, it's wobbling all over the place. And then it was fuzzy and you got, terrible optics and all that kind of stuff. Can you shoot it with your smartphone? Yes, you can. The problem with shooting the moon on a smartphone is the same problem with shooting the moon on your camera, is it can't tell what gray is because there's so much black and there's this little bit of white. And so it's trying to, it becomes overblown. It tries to, it's blown out meaning it's too white. And so on your phone, you can actually bring it down. One tip that I saw is if you take your phone, actually, if you have your phone, how many cameras do you have on the back? Right? Some of
Three
you
on
have
mine.
one, some have two, some have three. Okay, if you've got three, that means you have an extra zoom, right? So use the zoom. If you have two like me, I can go wide and I can go normal. I can't do that extra zoom. So if you've got three, some of you Samsung users, you got 3 or 4 or 5, you've got, you've got more lenses than you can shake a stick at. But if you've got that zoom, use it and actually take a video. Use the video, zoom in, bring the exposure down, then take a screenshot of that and crop the stink out of it, and you might get a photo that will work on your phone. But we're gonna be talking about, oh, here's another option. If you take a picture of, use a telescope. Best moon photo I had ever taken was through my friend's telescope. He had it on there, man, I was, shaking, but, every time, you get the eyepiece and you put the eye just right on there, you can get a good photo through a telescope. You use a real telescope, not the little tiny ones, but you can actually get a good photo with that. If you're trying to do it more professional like, you want to use something with the an adapter, specially designed for the moon over there. What kind of lenses? Okay. What is the best moon lens?
The one you got with you?
It's okay. What is the best camera? What is the best?
The one you got with you.
The best. It depends on what you're trying to do. So I'm going to be going through some different types of moon photos, and you can see there's a variety of lenses that are used. Some are wide, some are medium, some are super zoom. It depends. The good news is you can start with the lens that you have now. And you can start where you are now. If you can't shoot the moon in your driveway or your backyard, you're doing it wrong. Going to some exotic locale and not being able to get the focus right on the moon is not going to help you because it's dark and it's night and you can't see. And it's cold, and you're wearing a headlamp, and you're flustered because it's moving so fast, and it's not where you want to be. So do it. I would say practice in your front yard. Depends on what you're trying to do. Okay, here is a full frame. Did I mention the moon's tiny? Okay, if you're using a 24 millimeter, that's the size of the moon that you're gonna get. But you can crop. You're not gonna get the same amount of detail, but you can crop. Okay, 70 millimeter, 200 millimeter, 600 millimeter, nice. 600 with a 1x4 extender, 600 with a 2x. And you can crop.
Yeah, and it's $14,000 to shoot the moon.
Yeah, and then there's the, if you have a crop sensor, that's going to bring you in an extra 1.4, 1.5 times. So just set your expectations with what you have, right? And start somewhere and move. This is Alan Wallace. He was a famous astrophotographer, passed away a year or so ago. And this is one of the slides that he has. Different focal lengths, what a 200 millimeter, 300, 400, 600, if you're really trying to get those close-up shots. You don't have to get close-up shots to start off with. Photo pills, how many of you have heard of photo pills? Okay.
I use it.
Photo pills.
I use it. I have it.
Photo pills is an app, iPhone and Android, and they are one of the great astro educators out there today. The app, I think I paid $9.95. At the time, was the most expensive app I had ever paid for. And it's been worth every cent. But they put out some great literature, great training, great videos on shooting everything from sunsets to moonrises to Milky Way, star trails, you name it, anything in that genre. They have contests. You could be featured. I've been one of their featured photographers. So some samples, sample moon photos. Some of these are mine, some of these are theirs. I'll let you know what's what. Beautiful picture with an added moon. Okay, and this moon over here, it's extra bright because of what's called moonshine. Earthshine. Moonshine, something else. Okay, Earthshine over here. And that's where you actually get the sun reflecting off of the earth back onto the moon and lighting up that dark side. It only happens a certain time of the year, and that's good to know. But that's available. But it's an added element. It just says that you're at night, right? It just gives a little bit of extra. And beautiful. All right, this is that full moon silhouette. This is somebody rising. Okay, no attempt to light the foreground, simply a silhouette. I have not been able to do one of these things yet because we don't have, we're in a valley. Okay, what's in a valley? What makes it a valley? The mountains. Which means it's very difficult to get the moon rising relatively low to the ground where you can get people on it. Okay, moon with rocks, right? That's beautiful. Again, you could probably take that with your 24 to 70, maybe your 200 mil. Rick, this looks like some, you could have taken this shot over here. Just gorgeous, right? Beautiful formation, and just you've got a human element. One of the things with moon photography, there's something about the moon. I mean, it affects, the tides, it affects moods, and it affects so much of our lives. And we're not even aware of that push and the pull that happens with the moon, the full moon, and how it affects us. I mean, if you imagine all that water that it moves with the tides, and what does it have to do? We're made mostly of water. On reflections. I think this was an Iceland photo of that they're showing here. This was my photo over here at Lake Herwig. You could take a tiny subject, but make it almost the whole frame by using the reflection in water. So, I didn't have to be on my, 100 millimeter, super duper lens over there. Another, you can do moon panoramas, right? Tiny moon, but then using zoom in and then capture those. What a gorgeous shot! Whoever took this was just did beautiful. This was an eclipse. Now you think I wanted to photograph the eclipse, and you got to do super zoom. Not the case. It's more air in here. This was just, it's a composite, obviously put together, but it's not the biggest in the moon, but boy, it just adds a little something. Here's another one. That's cool. Just, it shows the different phases, but it's not big in your face, like I like to shoot. Or you just get the moon by itself. I say just, I put that in quotes, just. Well, I just have an iPhone. I just have we just do just. Man, look at the craters on that thing. Love that. This line over here, I'll be back, because that's called the Terminator. Right, that line between light and dark. Hasta la vista, baby. Half moon. Moving that sharpened slider all the way to the right. Get that crunchy over here. Okay, so lunars, eclipses, blood moons, these kinds of things. This actually was my first attempt. Pretty terrible, actually. I couldn't get it sharp. I was in a rush. I didn't know what I was doing. It was dark out. Drove all the way up to Oakland, actually. The astronomy club, I could see it very clearly through their telescope. I couldn't get a thing. This was out in Joshua Tree this past eclipse in March. So made a little bit of improvement, which is nice to see. It's always nice to see improvement. You can then put these things in shapes. I've seen them beautifully done. Arches, waving things. This was the one that I had done up and down. You got all the different little parts of the. Those are fun to do. Special features of the moon. Okay, normally I say don't click on clickbait for moon clickbait, but this one I had to. Giant B and X to show on moon. Ooh, what's that? Because I'm thinking giant B and X. How big is it going to be? Something. Shoot. Well, it is giant. It's about 30 miles long. There's the B, and there's the X. And it can only be shown twice a month So this super rare VNX, twice a month, only for a few hours with the, when the light just hits it, just so. And so I was able to find that up and, took that right in my front yard. All right, there's the moon. And there's Mars. So tiny. This is one of those things where the moon actually is going faster than the rest of the stars. And the Mars went all the way behind it. Or I guess the moon went all the way in front of it. Started on one side, popped up on the other side. Not the best picture of Mars that you'll ever see. But it is reddish. So I got that right. So what camera setting should, oh, there's another one. Hey, I got a little picture of the airplane in there. Okay, what I would love, I still, once you start taking pictures of a genre, you start to get that mental list of things that you want. So I want the big 747 coming right through the moon. That would be awesome. This is what I've got. So it's there, but it's fun. I mean, it's a little bit of an extra over there. So what kind of camera settings? All right, how many of you used to shoot film back in the day? Okay, they had the Sunny 16. Okay, F16, know what I mean? That was a great place to start. And whatever your ISO was, that's what you would use for your shutter speed. So if your ISO was 100, you would use the shutter stop of 1/100th. And so Sunny 16, well, they came up with the Looney 11. Okay. So you're gonna do the exact same thing. You're gonna start with 11, F11. Now Looney, that would be that's not that kind of Looney. But you're gonna get your F11 ISO 200. It's a great place to start, right? And then you're going to get a shutter speed of 1/200. So you just make these things match. ISO and shutter speed, you make those match. And that's a great place to start for a full moon. Okay, for a full moon. Remember, the moon is, what I said, it was half as bright as the sun. So are we surprised that F16 moves to F11? For those of you who know your f-stops, that's half the amount of light. And that shows you right over there. In fact, if we look at the full moon, and I love the mistake that this person made, the half moon that we were joking about earlier. Yeah, well, it looks like a half moon to me. So start with F11, less light. Reflected means we need more light in the sensor. Less light reflected, more light in the sensor. Less light in the sensor, less light reflected, more light in the sensor. And then if you're total eclipse, good luck if that'll even do it. You need as much light as you can possibly get. But if you're starting with the full moon, good, you're just gonna look on the back of your camera. And if the blinkies are going on, like Rick always has us turn on our blinkies, if it's blown out, well, you need to compensate. And you're gonna use your exposure compensation to do that. All right, autofocus should work. Now I say should. There's the caveat. If here's the moon, tap on the edge of the moon, and that should get you going. If not, focus on a mountain far away, focus on a tree far away, focus on a lamp far away, and that'll get you in the ballpark for your focus there. After you get your focus though, turn the autofocus off. Otherwise, because remember that moon's moving so fast, it'll start, it's not there anymore. What should I do? Well, it'll start going back and forth and back and forth. And you just had perfect focus, and all of a sudden now you miss it. So turn, once you get the moon focused, and we're not using our f-stop for depth of field. You're not gonna be able to tell the curvature of the, it's round this way. You're not gonna be able to tell the round this way. There's no depth of field. We're just talking about stopping, letting the right amount of light in. Okay, use a shutter delay or shutter release. So if you've got your intervalometer, if you don't know what that is, it's just an extra piece. It could be wired or wireless. And it allows you to, because usually if you're using a zoom, every time you push that button, and then you push it again, and it takes a few seconds for it to, in fact, the longer the lens, the more, wobble it has to get out of there. And so you could use a remote shutter, boom, 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 or a delay. Canons have, I think, 2 seconds and 10 seconds. Nikons, I think, are 3 and 10. But that's just an easy way to push the button. It'll count down 3, 2, 1, and that'll allow your camera to settle. And then click, it'll take the picture. Gives it the most amount of sharpness that you can get. And bracketing. Okay, bracket. That means you're going to take a stop above, stop or two above, stop or two below. You may or may not try to HDR it. Depends on what you're trying to do, but bracket. So that means you're going to take an exposure and it's going to be darker, and you're going to take an exposure and it's going to be lighter.
HDR works the same way.
Yep.
HDR and Nikon is, you can set it for whatever stops up and down, up to 9 stops.
Easy way is to use your exposure compensation. And which way makes it brighter? The way I remember it, brighter is brighter. Okay, so it'll go, if it's too dark, go to this way. If it's too dark, you're gonna go the other way. So that'll make it darker, that'll make it brighter. Use your exposure compensation. All right, so if you're advanced, okay, take multiple shots and stack. This is an advanced astro technique where you're going to take multiple shots in a row. You're going to bring them together. You're going to average them out. It'll help reduce the noise, bring out the clarity, signal the noise. And that is an advanced technique, but I did want to mention it. Multiple shots and stack. That is a good thing to do. And if you're super nerdy, get up your astro tracker and then set it on moon mode. Remember that the moon is traveling at a different speed than the sun, which is traveling at a different speed than the earth. And there's actually, I click it on moon. It didn't say moon, I had a little picture of the moon. And then it goes at the moon speed, which is very handy. And then I don't have to, because again, you're going to get it in your frame and it's going to move, and you're going to have to move it up and move it over and move it up and move it over, and you're going to get it. You're finally going to get it, and then you're going to, you're fumbling, it's out of the frame, right? Oops. That's where I learned to love. That's where I got rid of my ball head. That's me, the ball head. When I started doing moon photography, because you take that ball head and you got that heavy lens on it, you do the and then it's like, oh, I got to start all over again. So that's when I moved to a geared head and have it look back. Tracker and moon speed. All right, moon inspiration. I was going to show you some videos from Photo Pills, and they're beautiful photos, but I don't think we can get them to work. So sorry. I will see what I can do when I get done. Okay, Moon Bazooka. Yeah, and Alan Wallace is somebody that I followed for years, and he talked about using a moon bazooka, and that is something. This is just the lens part. Looks like that. It's a big one, and you get that sucker on there. You put the lens hood on there. I even got an extender on there. And there's several good ones of these. There's the Tamron 150 to 600, the Sigma 150 to 600. They've come down in price a lot. A lot of people use these as starter birth lenses. Nikon makes a great 200 to 500, very sharp on that. And then you can use an extender. So again, shooting allows you to buy new equipment. I know it allows you, it gives you an excuse. And so, buying them used, I bought my gear is, 1 or 2 generations behind, and it's used. So that helps me get my price down. And then I'm, trying to trade over here, and I'll swap this lens over here, and I'll buy this one over here, and that's a great way to do it. I mentioned this Coolpix. If you think of a point and shoot, typically you think of something that you can fit in your pocket. This isn't that. It's about the size of a football. It's huge. I don't know if I've had so much fun with a camera in a long time. A friend lent this to me. I think they have one of the best camera commercials, 3-minute kind of commercial ever. But it's 24 to 3,000 millimeters. And the way that they do that is okay, a crop sensor lets you move in, right? So if you have a smaller sensor, it gives you the effective zoom. Well, look at the size of this sensor. It's tiny. It's tiny. It's about as big as a cell phone sensor. And so they're able to put a 200 millimeter normal zoom lens on that, and it just keeps going. But it'll take the entire, you can zoom in past the moon. I mean, you can actually see craters on there. It is crazy, unbelievable, but it is a very, very fun. They have the P1000 was the original. Now they have the P1100. Yeah, it's a great. Runs about $1,000. It's super fun. All right, health labs. These are things that I have in my pocket that I use. Photo pills, mentioned that before. It has a when does the moon rise, when does the moon set, settings over here that you can see. And so it's important to know. It also shows where the Milky Way is going to start, what angle, where it's going to end. And my favorite part, if you only use one piece of photo pills, would be the augmented reality. Augmented reality lets you see right here through to that's my bathroom. So I was looking through over here, but you can see right where the moon's going to be at any time, and you can forward time. You could forward it forward. You can bring it back. You can change the dates and see exactly where the moon is going to be at a certain time. So for planning and pre-visualizing, there is no better app to do that with, because you're on site where you're going to be, and you can kind of see where it's going to be in the sky, and you can plan. It's tremendous.
For that feature, do you have to put in like your logistics of where you're at? Cause it seemed like,
It knows right where you're at. It's attached to your GPS, so it knows which way you're facing, north, south, east, or west. It knows what degree you're facing. There's a wide view that allow you to use a 15 millimeter lens or a 24 millimeter lens, which are very common, and lets you pre-visualize your shot. It's tremendous. Like I said, I have lots of moon apps on my computer. This one I have on my phone. One click, all it does is moon things. That's it. Moon, it tells me moonrise, moonset, sunrise, sunset. That's it. Shows me what the moon's going to look like. How, what it is, because I don't know what it is. A waxing gibbous. Waxing gibbous full moon super, whatever that we had over there before. This is one I had never heard about before, but this is very helpful. Theodolite. How many of you are in engineering or doing road work? You see those guys, and they kind of have they put it on a tripod, and they have those, it's facing, and they can do precise measurements. That's what this does, but with your phone. So the moon's going to be at 40 degrees tall today. I don't know where that is, right? But I can take this and I can point it up, and it'll show me exactly right where. Oh, in fact, there's right where the moon is right now. It'll also tell me my north, south, east, west, what degrees I'm turned at, and you can actually turn on. It'll show you any mountain that you're looking at, which is kind of handy. If you're, what mountain ranges am I looking at? It'll show you. It'll zoom in. This is a couple bucks. It only runs sideways on long ways, which once you get it going, it's hard to turn off, because you gotta move your phone. But it's tremendously helpful to know exactly when you're trying to find out. And this is also helpful when I'm shooting other nighttime objects. I can see it's at 23 degrees north. How tall is that? Yeah, I don't know. So I can use this and go exactly, tell me exactly where that is. That's handy. Planet Pro, this is another planning type device. Planet Pro and PhotoPills are very similar. I lean towards Planet Pro just because it has a desktop. I can run this on my computer. That gives me an advantage sometimes where it doesn't have it. It's another advantage as well, very similar. You find out where you are on the map, right? There's always some sort of put a pin where you want to stand, right? And from that pin, you can tell here, this is the sunrise. There's the sunset for this night. Here's the moonrise over here and the moon set. And I can move time back and forth and it'll show me exactly where the moon is and where the sun's going to be. So I can aim it right at my target over here. In this case here, I'm pointing at this Mount San Jacinto. Over here is in Cherry Valley. I'm pointing right at Mount San Jacinto. And this is where planning, you take it one extra step. Not only do they have augmented reality, they have virtual reality. So they put maps of the mountains in the app itself. Then you get a virtual moon or a virtual sun, and you can move time up. So this is where I'm planning. So here's the hump. Here's the second hump. I want it right over that second hump. So that was my plan. This is my shot. Plan, shot. And I did this while I was sitting at home. So I knew exactly where it was going to be, where it was going to stand, where it was going to aim, and what my shot was going to look like before I even left the house. That is worth an investment of, I think $9.95, whatever it's worth. So that's tremendous. All right, the International Space Station in front of the moon. That's this is fun. You use transitfinder.com. Transitfinder.com. It'll ask you where you're going to be, in your area, and then you could do a radius. Like 80 kilometers or whatever, around whatever the default is, and then it'll give you a list of every place with the moon or the sun or the International Space Station or the Hubble or this Tigon. I've done the Hubble, I've done the International Space Station. I want to get the Chinese version of that, kind of see how big that is. And it'll tell you exactly what the path is. As long as you're standing in this path, you'll be able to get it right in front of the moon, right in front of the sun. In fact, it'll show you, poof, that's exactly what your photo is going to look like. So first time I had done it with the sun. I had put my special filter on my lens. I had captured the International Space Station going in front of the sun. So I was going to try it with the moon. So I was in Cherry Valley at the time. I had gone there. I had planned. I knew where it was going to be. I was going to stand there. And I was ready. And this is what I got. I'm watching it. Here's the International Space Station. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Here's the moon. It's coming. It's going to be perfect. It's ready to pass. I hit my remote shutter. And this is what I got. Did I tell you the moon moves? The moon here all the way out of my frame. And I was so upset. I was packing the car. I'm home. A couple days later, Amy, where's my tripod? So I went back to the neighborhood, I had already called the police. I had, put lost and found, put this up, and sure enough, a couple days later, I had a call. Somebody had brought my tripod in. Awesome. Thank goodness for honest people. But that was fun. This is I went out and tried it again. This is a video, of it. Ooh, come back here. I'm gonna try this again. All right, so here's what I'm saying. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's here, it's here. Woo! So, that's on my YouTube channel. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So it zoomed by. I was very excited about that. But this is what I captured. I wasn't able to get, you can kind of see it's a little squiggly, but I was taking a video at the time, and it was only 128, or it was only 60 frames per second. Was into 4K video, and at 120 frames per second, we could actually stop it, but I got it. And so I'm super excited about that. So went out again. This time, I'm gonna get it right. I knew that the Hubble was this was the Hubble, it was gonna come up, it was gonna match over here. I'd done my planning, stood out, boom, 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 boom. That's what it looks like. So if you think of the International Space Station is the size of a football field, okay, flying through the sky. The Hubble is the size of a school bus. So it's a lot tinier, but I was able to get it, and I was I'm just excited about the plan working as I am anything else, any sort of capture. So again, fake news. Yeah. Oh, blood moon, destroy the earth, like, oh. No. About the size of a nickel. Is the right size of that. This is a good, you could get this. But if you're sending this out to the public and they think that's what they're gonna see, that's the fake news, right? And again, lunar eclipse of the flower soup, blood, supermoon, you just keep adding more things to it, and it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. If you see anything with a funny color, let's see over here. Mouse. Oh, this is crazy. They said that you're going to see a smiley face on the moon. And so I went, anytime the moon is so bright. If any stars are nearby, they just dim to like pinpoints. You can hardly see them. So this time I was smarter. I didn't click on it. I went to my astronomy app, and I pulled up the moon on this date and time that it said, and I could see that it was just going to be a nothing. And so I did go out and look at it the next day, and it was nothing. Okay, so here's the flower moon. Anytime you see some weird colored moon, that's not it. Any weird shaped things, that's probably not it either. You'll see captions like, "Oh, this is 1 month of the moon captured." Nope, that's not it. It's not. You could get this over maybe 6 month period of time, but if you see any shapes like that, I mean, beautiful composite. I love it. Love the creativity. But in terms of the caption is lying to you. The photography is real. The caption's lying. And with AI, it's only going to get worse. If you really want to learn about these things, the San Bernardino Museum, they team up with the San Bernardino Valley Astronomers Club, and they do what's called Cosmic Nights, which I think is hysterical because if you look at the size of the moon over the building, totally fake. But they actually have telescopes there. They have knowledgeable people who could point you in the right direction. That's handy. And then I follow the NASA International Observe the Moon Night. If you don't shoot the moon, this is a great chance to do it. Just go out and look at the moon, enjoy the moon. I love their play. Listen to moon-themed music. Catch the moon, watch the moon on video, keep a moon journal, host your own moon party. You gotta be hard up for that. And I'll be having mine at 6.
I see a moon pie in your future.
I know. Yes, I eat moon pies, been guilty, those moon pies over there. So before I close, any Any questions on what you've seen in the back, Heidi?
No, I'm just stretching, but
Oh,
there is a
it's-
full moon this Thursday.
There is a moon on Thursday, yeah, full moon on Thursday. Oh, pro tip, if you're trying to get something in front of the moon, like a mountain or anything, go the day before. The moon won't have, on an actual full moon, they're exactly opposite of each other. So as one is rising, one is setting, it'll actually be below the horizon by the time you can see it after it gets over our mountains. But if you go the day before, the moon will be 99% full. Nobody will be able to tell in your photos. And it will be lit. Your foreground will have some light on it. So that's a tip over there. I would encourage you to go out and take pictures of the moon. It's beautiful.
Right, thank you.
Bruce,